Can anybody online hear us, please? Someone answer. Okay, thank you, Dan. Appreciate it. All right. I figured, geez, someone's going to say something. They're not hearing us. All right. Hey, thanks for coming out tonight, folks. And again, I know it's the summer months and people like to be doing their outdoor things, and we appreciate you being on. And again, the Thursday nights are for people that want to get value out of that. And, you know, if there's other things that people have more important, then obviously they should do that. But we're glad to have the people online that are. And we've got a special guest speaker tonight, Lynn Jones, which you all know, former Primerica RVP. And if you've ever, some of you folks are familiar with the STAR program, which is not a Primerica program. STAR is a independent personality training program that was utilized by many, many companies. And Lynn, in the past, has taught this within their offices. So she was generous enough to offer to do that tonight. And we want to get some of our producing advisors to be up doing training and speaking on Thursday nights as well. So without further ado, I'm going to pass the table over to Lynn, and Lynn's going to do a great job for you. Thank you, Lynn.
Okay, thanks, Joe.
And she brought some multi.
No, I didn't. Kumar brought that for me. So pause off. Anyways, thanks everybody. I just want you to be aware that as I go through this is an extremely abbreviated version. The actual STAR program, when I do it in full, is about 2 to 2.5 hours long. So we're obviously not going to take that long. But what I wanted to do was kind of give the points of how to quickly identify who it is that you're talking to, or who's across the kitchen table from you. Or even from a recruiting standpoint too, the people that you're talking to and training, because the better that you can identify their personality, the more they're going to relate to you, and the more that they're going to be successful, either as a client or as a new agent. Because the reality is, we are ourselves, and we see everything from our own perception, and we think that everybody should do things the way that we do, and we get frustrated with them when they don't. Again, whether that be a client or somebody that you're training. But they're going to do things the way that they do things. And you have to find a way to relate to them and, get them moving in the right direction, help them make the decisions that are the best for them. So we'll go through this, and hopefully it'll make sense to everybody. So the STAR program, if you can really get a grasp of this and utilize it, it will really give you a complete edge. And the sort of measurable amount of that is a minimum of 25% increase in your success rate if you really learn this program well. So just thinking back, and anything or any time that you're dealing with people in any way, shape, or form, like, have you ever felt like you really just kind of pushed the wrong buttons with that person, or you felt like they were pushing your wrong buttons, or you felt really irritated with somebody, or like, do you ever walk away from somebody and say that they really rubbed you the wrong way? That is really the STAR program in action, because it basically just means that you guys did not connect, and you weren't hearing each other. So if you can think back to those conversations and figure out that if you could have found a way to connect with those people, how much better would that interaction have gone? Yeah, I just said that. Okay. Okay, so if you can figure this out, then you're going to also feel less frustrated yourself. And I think this goes, I'm going to kind of put this out there, because every relationship that you have, every personality is different. And as we go through the STAR program, you'll notice that there are 4 different personality types, and everybody sort of has 2 main dominant personality traits, but everybody has all 4 traits in there. So just keep that in mind too. But even when you're dealing with your spouse, your kids, your personal relationships, if you really get a hang of this, it's going to change all your relationships and the way that you deal with people. And I can attest to that because Steve and I are very, very different personality types. My two main personality types are A and R, and his are S and T. We are the classic opposites attract. And I can tell you that when we learned this program, it probably saved our marriage because we were getting to a point where we were not relating to each other, even just in feeling like he didn't understand me, he didn't, and you'll see when we go through this, I'll talk about it a little bit more, but once we learned the personality traits, we were actually able to relate to each other in a way that made sense for each of us. So let's just kind of get started here. One thing to keep in mind, we're all born and develop our personality traits at a very young age, and these personality traits show up very, very early. I mentioned I'm an AR as my two dominant, so typically S-type and T-type personalities drive me insane. And I was blessed with two children that are both S and T-type personalities. Actually, my younger son is an S and an R, so he's a bit of an anomaly himself. But yeah, so but even like when he was probably like a year and a half old, he would play with his dinky cars, and his way of playing with them was to line them up in a very straight row, and that's how he would keep them. And me, of course, being an A and an R and liking to bug people, I'd try to bug him by pushing them out of line, and he would get mad because his cars weren't in a line. So, seeing those personality traits, and again, not understanding that this was, really damaging to our relationship because I was ticking off my 2-year-old and not realizing it, right? Some situations are very easy to pick out, but others will play visual games with you. And the reason for that is that every time you go into somebody's home, typically when we're dealing with families, you've got the husband, the wife, maybe some kids in there. So looking around the house, you're going to see all the different personality traits that are in there. And maybe it's very much like Steve and I, where there's a maxed out S and a T and a maxed out A and an R. If you walk into our home, you're going to see both of those traits throughout our house, and you're going to have to figure out which one of us is which trait, because if you pin me by accident as an S or a T type personality and that's how you're talking to me, I am going to turn right off, and I'm not going to be listening to you. And same with Steve. If you talk to him like an A, it's just not going to happen for him. Also keep in mind that this is not a flat program. There's also other factors to it, such as speed. There's a scale factor. There's an introverted, extroverted factor. We're not going to get into all of that today. But as we go through it too, though, learning when to pinpoint if somebody is very fast-paced or very slow-paced is somewhat important too. Because you can have an S-type personality person who is very fast on the speed scale. And you can accidentally pinpoint them as an A-type personality instead of an S-type personality based on their speed. And that can be detrimental to your conversation with them. So keep in mind that there are other factors to it. This is not just a two-dimensional program, okay? Like I said, we have dominant factors, and one of the fastest or best ways, what's happening?
I just realized the screen's not on.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Dan. Just getting that fixed. Hold on.
Yeah, it's not moving over here. I don't know what's going on.
It's showing on our screen, but apparently not showing on theirs.
I can't get the mouse over the... Bear with us for a minute here, folks. My computer's doing some funky stuff. Where did it just go?
I don't know, it went up there.
I know it's up there, but it's not...
It came down. Go down. There it is. There it is.
All right, let's try that.
Okay.
Sorry about that, folks.
Dan could hear the clicking, but he couldn't see the picture. Okay. Can you see it now? Who has...
Yeah,
you need to turn that down. Yeah, because of it. Okay, so everybody can see it now? Thank you. Okay, so that's kind of important because you want to see this one here. So basically, to know what your dominant traits are, typically your dominant trait will show up in a serious incident. In a car crash, if you come across a car accident or something like that, or some kind of, you know, somewhere where some kind of an incident where you have to react immediately. What is your automatic reaction? So think about that yourself. If this was you and it was late at night, you're driving along and you come across an accident, what is your initial reaction? What are you going to do? Well, the S-type personality is the one you can see kind of in the background there. They are, oh, now it's not clicking. Whoa. Whoa. Go back. Stop it. There we go. Okay, so your S-type personality is the one in the background there. They kind of stay in a secure area. They're monitoring the progress. They're probably the one that called 911.
Keeping score.
They're keeping score, who's doing what, who's doing where, that kind of thing. The T-type personality is the other one back in the background. They're analyzing the situation. They're trying to figure out what happened, how did this happen. They're the ones that are going to give the police the report when they get there because they're going to have it all like lined out. The A-type personality, they dove right in there without any thought to their own safety, what's going on around them. They just get in there and they do what's got to get done. And then the R-type personality is the one, you know, rubbing somebody's hand going, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay, everything's okay. They're taking care of the feelings of the hurt people, okay? This was actually a situation, not this particular picture, but Steve and I came across, we were driving on the highway, and my mother-in-law was in the back seat, my older son was in the back seat, and Steve was driving, I was the passenger, and we're driving along, and I said to Steve, is there smoke coming out of that car? And he says, yeah, I think so. So he gets right up beside the car, and he waves him over. He pulls over to the side. Well, the back of his car was on fire. So he pulled over. Steve pulls over in front of him in a safe enough distance that we're, you know, if this car blows up, it's not going to damage his car. Right? But before he's got the car stopped, the car is slowed down enough that I could open the door and jump out. Now, we were on our way back from a wedding, so you got to picture this. I'm wearing heels and a fancy dress. He's wearing a suit. My mother-in-law's in the back seat. So as he's stopping the car, my mother-in-law starts crying, saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? This isn't safe. Keep going. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. I've already jumped out of the car. I'm running back to the other guy. Steve finally catches up to me. The two of us pull him out of the car and into the ditch. My older son is sitting in the back seat, wringing his hands, going, oh my gosh, what's going on? Okay, checking out to make sure. And he actually grabbed, I had thrown my phone to him and told him to call 911. So afterwards, I'm shaking like a leaf because I just ran into this car, burning car, to pull this guy out, going, I don't know who this guy is or anything. But it was a very similar situation to this, and all four of our personalities showed up right away. And my mother-in-law was screaming out the back window, get back in this car, what are you doing? Oh, it was funny. Anyways, it wasn't funny at the time, but it's funny now thinking about it. She's the S. So yeah, in that situation, my mother-in-law was the S-type personality. My older son was more the T-type personality. Steve was like the S, and then his A kicked in secondary. And then I was just a full-blown A. I was just running. We had to find my shoes because I was wearing these high-heel shoes and I couldn't run fast enough in them, so I kicked them off, and one was in the ditch and one was on the side of the road. And but you know, that's where you're going to see what your automatic dominant first trait is by how you react in an emergent type situation. So understanding the STAR program from a training standpoint is also important because you're going to be dealing with and training people, and when you're training somebody that is not licensed yet, let's say, it's important to know this because everybody that gets licensed for a different reason, and it really does relate to their personalities. An S-type personality is going to study hard so that they can get licensed to get money so that they can create security for their life. A T-type personality is going to study hard so that they can get licensed so that they can get knowledge, so that they can learn more and know more than anybody else. An A-type personality is going to study hard so that they can get licensed to get freedom and do the things that they want to do, when they want to do it, how they want to do it. And an R-type personality is going to study hard so that they can get licensed so that they can help the well-being of others. Okay. Now, if you've got an R-type personality that wants to get licensed in this industry so that they can help others, but you talk to them about all the money they can make and how awesome it's going to be when they can travel the world, and they are so going to turn you off and probably never get licensed because you're pushing them in the wrong direction. So a real quick sort of leadership overview. An S-type personality, an S-type leader, is very black and white thinking. They like to lead. They're the most responsible of all personalities, and they live by the rules, right? They want to know how things are supposed to work, how you're supposed to do it, and they're not going to venture far from that. A T-type personality wants control of nature. They like the factual information. They really like the financial goals analysis and all the little information in there, and they, all of that kind of stuff. They like the what's the word I'm looking for? They like the technical aspect of it. Yeah, they like the crunching of the numbers. An A-type personality, they're the type of leader or the type of person, they just despise boredom. They don't like the same old, same old. They need a lot of adrenaline to keep them going. And if they're not the lead dog, they do get very competitive. So you'll see the competitive nature. Those of us that are, always trying to, get that one more sale because somebody else got another sale, and Joe's very good at that with me, because he'll hey, I heard Winston's got like 6 sales this month, and I'm like, oh, son of a, I've got 6 too. Now I got to get one more to beat him, and that kind of thing. So that's again where my A-type personality shows up. They also tend to shoot first, ask questions later. Sometimes the A-type personalities can be a bit of your compliance issues, but they mean well. And R-type personalities, they just want to be liked. They're the people in the office that are always baking for everybody, and they bring the pie and the cake to all the meetings, and the hug-o-matic. They just, everybody walks in the room and they like to hug everybody. They love all the people and the pets, and they're going to ask you how your dog is and how your cat is, and all that kind of stuff. They'll also, you can identify an R-type personality by the way they shake hands. They typically shake your hand and then cup your other hand over top. They don't like to argue, and they typically don't like competition all that much. They tend to shy away from competition, not because they don't think they can win, but because they don't want to beat the other person, because they don't want to make the other person feel bad. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more specifically on the actual traits. So an S-type personality, their time frame, they live in the past. They like tradition, they like structure, they like things to stay the same. One of the ways that I tend to remember the personality types is typically any word that you can use to describe somebody that starts with an S pretty much fits the S-type personality. So structure and stability, those kinds of things. Stupid? No, I didn't say that. Joe said that. That was Joe.
Just kidding.
Okay, so Joe is an A-type personality, didn't care about people's feelings. And then Michelle over on the other side of the room was saying sympathetic. She's an R. S-type personalities are 38% of the population. They're typically an S-type personality.
I was kidding.
I know. Joe says he was kidding. Okay. So S-type personalities, what do they like? They like things that are organized. They like systems. They do not like to be surprised. Do not plan a surprise party for an S-type personality. They will, that's not going to be good. They like predictability. They like things to flow smoothly. They do like to lead. They like rules. They like everything to be very prepared. How this kind of plays out when you're in somebody's home, if you've identified one of the personalities in somebody's home as an S-type personality and you're an A-type personality like I am, I have to really stop myself, because an A-type personality, if you're going through that financial goals analysis with them, you tend to throw the paper over here or whatever. If you're with an S-type personality, one thing you can do that will put you in amazing graces with these people is every time you flip a page over, wrap them together so that they're all very organized and no pages are turned or out of balance, let's say. S-type personalities also like to-do lists. Sticky notes are their favorite thing in the world. Let's see, they're big on compliance. They're very pessimistic type people as well. They're probably more pessimistic than almost anybody else. Credibility means a lot to them, and dependability as well. So S-type personalities, with them, make sure you do what you say you're going to do. Again, you're in their home. If you tell them that you're going to get some sort of piece of information for them or find something out for them, or you're going to call them in 2 days, or you'll follow up with them for whatever, you better do that, because if you don't, you're not getting back in their home. Yeah, or be done in an hour. Yeah. Stay very on time with S-type personalities. Do not show up late to their home, because as soon as you're late to an S-type personality's home, they've already turned you off. They're not listening. So what do they not like? Well, lateness, like I just said. They don't like to be, called out of the blue. They don't like any kind of delay. An S-type personality will not want to be trained by an A-type personality unless that A-type personality knows how to turn themselves into an S-type personality. They don't like procrastination. They don't like competition all that much. They don't like speeding. These will be the people on the highway that are driving an A-type personality crazy because they're doing 100 on the highway and the A-type personality wants to do 140 and they're just in their way. They don't like to stand out in a crowd, so don't single out an S-type personality. They don't like impatience. They don't like messes. They don't like a lot of loudness. They don't like change to the system. And they don't like spelling mistakes in any way. There's an S-type personality right there, right? You want to really test if somebody's an S-type personality. Slightly move one of their pictures on the wall. That'll drive them crazy. My sister's an S-type personality, and every time I go to her house, I move something on her shelf just to bug her. So how to identify an S? When you walk into their home, take a look around. Everything in their house has a place. Nothing is out of place. Their front yard, just walking right up to it, their front yard is very neat, very manicured. They're probably the ones that have those dumb lines in the grass when they cut the grass. Yeah, and it's probably on an angle and everything's, their books are straight and in order. Their frames are all straight on the wall. There might be probably a lot of antiques around the house because remember their time frame is really in the past. The type of books you might see are like cookbooks, history books, encyclopedias. They'll have day timers. What's that? Yeah. Their car, the inside of their car is going to be very clean. The type of car they drive is going to be quite conservative. They'll probably have like a bin in the trunk so that they can carry stuff and keep things nice and neat and tidy. They really like to use cruise control because that means they're not fluctuating with their speed a lot. And keep in mind with an S-type personality especially, there is no one clue that's going to give away their personality. A lot of the S-type personality traits do overlap into some of the other ones. Okay. And as I said before, they tend to be the most responsible. A lot of S-type personalities will actually tend to be the oldest sibling. That's another thing there, just responsibility-wise. And they are the ones that tend to learn from their past. They'll make a mistake, but they will never do it again. Right? Okay, a T-type personality. Their time is in the future or kind of timeless. They're very futuristic. T-type personalities is only about 12% of the population. What do they like? They like computers, electronics. They like designing things. They like building Legos, troubleshooting, problem solving. My 10-year-old is a T-type personality, and I've never seen anybody get so excited than when we took him to Legoland. That was like, and I was dying. That was the most boring place I've ever been in my life. And he was bouncing off the walls and so excited, right? They like problem solving. They're going to like things, all the sci-fi things. They're Trekkies, that kind of stuff. Pokemon? I don't know. Pokemon drives everybody crazy. They have pocket protectors. They're big into math and calculating and solving. They really like to know why. They have got to know why, okay? With a T-type personality, if you're in their home going through the financial goals analysis, you better make sure that you've practiced that thing and you know their numbers inside out, backwards, and forwards before. Do not ever, ever, ever wing it with a T-type personality. They hate that, okay? When it comes to the business side of things, T-type personalities really like the idea of trail commissions. They love investments, mutual funds, that kind of stuff. What they don't like chit-chat. They don't like any kind of mushy stuff. Don't try and hug a T-type personality. Have you ever hugged somebody and it felt like you were hugging an ironing board? That's a T-type personality, right? They don't like a lot of repetition. They certainly don't like stupidity. They don't like to have too much attention drawn to themselves necessarily either, unless it's so that they can impart their knowledge. They like to impart their own knowledge. They don't like crowds. They don't like talking to friends and relatives and family members and really anybody. They have very little sense of humor. They cannot abide incompetence. They don't like a lot of pictures. They don't like waiting around. They don't like poor spellers. They don't like really anything that doesn't show knowledge, okay? They don't like mistakes. They don't like inefficiency. They do not like failure, because to them, failure is like, it's not logical. Why would you fail? What did you do wrong? You must have done something that brought about that failure, you know, that kind of thing. They do not like to depend on other people. They definitely do not like R-type personalities. Oh yeah, I'm telling you, I don't know how Steve and I got married, because when we first got married, I was a maxed out R-type personality and he was a maxed out T-type personality. It was, I don't know. I don't even know. Honestly, when we were dating, his friends said, I can't believe he's holding your hand. They had never seen him hold hands with any girlfriend he had ever had before. So we kind of rubbed off on each other a little bit, but, you know, just that. Aw, so sweet. Okay. So inside their house, you're going to see computers. You're going to see software all over the place. Their desk has stacks on it, but they know exactly where everything is. Fred's there now. Their furniture is very functional. It's nothing fancy. You know, they like the IKEA furniture, like just where everything fits properly. You'll never see their, well, that's a little bit outdated, their VCR. Who has a VCR anymore? Okay. Anything that has a clock on it, yeah, anything that has a clock on it won't be flashing. Their microwave won't be flashing. Their stove won't be flashing, that kind of thing. They have encyclopedias on their shelf. Very similar to S-type personalities, everything has a place. But like I said, they'll have tons of piles everywhere, but they know exactly where every single thing is. You could say, ask them for the piece of paper that, you know, from 5 years ago, such and such, and they will go straight to which pile it's in, and they will pick it right out for you. It's kind of toys that they're going to have, computers, gadgets, computer games, and it's going to be the best of everything as well. It's going to have like the most gigabyte-y things or whatever they are. Obviously, I'm not a T-type personality. They're going to have the heavy-duty watches, all the sci-fi stuff. They're going to have the big stereo with all the gadgets and bells and whistles. Books that they're going to have are going to be like Omni magazine. They're going to have tech manuals. And then if you ask them if they've actually read them all, they probably have. They like crosswords. T-type personalities are the ones that like the Sudokus, right? Their car is going to be a $100 car. It's functional. It's supposed to get them A to B. That's it. But they will know all the data about that car, logically built. They're going to have things like Saturns, Probes, Volkswagens, Mercedes. Their pets, if they have a pet, if they have one, it's a cat. Might be a hairless cat, yeah, right? But they're going to have a cat. Why? Because cats are your typical T. You can pet me when you want to, when I want to be petted, and then when I'm done, you're done, right? Kind of thing. Their appearance, they don't really care about their appearance that much. Like I said before, they're going to have pocket protectors. They probably carry their laptop. They wear a lot of plaids, a lot of dark colors, black, that kind of thing. Behavior-wise, like I said, they like Legos, Connects, anything that they can build with, anything that's kind of cold, not personal. They love to debate, and they love to show their brain power. So in, I don't know, high school, if you remember the debate teams, those were all the S-type, or the T-type personalities, sorry. And mentally, most times they're in another place. A lot of times, you know, that's I mean, I'll say to Steve all the time, like, hello, are you in there? And he's just, you know, he's off in his own futuristic world of some kind, right? Typical professions for a T-type personality are analysts, engineers, computers, builders. Guess what? Steve is a tool and die maker. He builds dies, right? And he knows all the little just thingy-mabobbers. And then he comes home and tries to tell me about the stuff he's making, and I go to another world because I don't have a clue what he's talking about. In fact, to the point that when on my first date, I came home, my dad says, "So, what was he like?" "Hey, he was nice, Dad. He was, well, what's he do for a living?" "I'm not really sure, but I think he makes like hammers and screwdrivers and stuff." I wasn't even close. So yeah, my dad laughed at me, and then 2 years later we got married. It was all good. Okay, an A-type personality. Their time frame is in the present. They live for the here and now. Who cares about, these are the people that you're going to have a hard time convincing them that they need to save $25 a month for their retirement, because they don't think retirement. They're thinking right here and now. 38% of the world are A's. These are your people that love sports. They love cars. The faster the better. They like speed vehicles. These are your NASCAR fans. The ones that want to drive the NASCAR circuit. They love money, competition. They love to win. These are your sore losers, that kind of thing. They are also very much into physical beauty. Everything has to look nice.
I resent that next one.
That they're attractive and physically fit. Doesn't say what they physically fit into.
Oh, okay.
They love to tell jokes. They love to hear jokes. The dirtier, the better. They love recognition. They love awards. They love to be on stage. They like to look good themselves. They're going to wear the best clothes they can wear. They like sex. They like toys. Not necessarily together, but maybe. I don't know. They like racing, adrenaline. They're adrenaline addicts. These are your daughter's boyfriend that you were telling me about. That likes going off wants to go off a 50-foot cliff into I don't know. That's insane. I'm an A-type person. That's insane.
Riding a kayak off a 30-foot waterfall.
Yeah, and test your personality a little bit. If you hear that you have an opportunity to ride a kayak off a 30-foot cliff into a pool of water, how do you feel about that? Right? Some people are going, yes, show me where, and other people are going, hell no, that's not going to happen. Right? These guys are thrill seekers. They love traveling. They love spending money. They love a challenge. Do not tell an A-type personality that they cannot do something, because they're going to go out and prove you wrong. They love to party. They do not like to have a boss. They love to break the records. They love independence, and they will win at any cost. What turns them off? What don't they like? They don't like rules. They don't like exams or tests or anything like that. These are the ones that are going to balk authority. They don't like authority. They don't like quiet. I'm doing okay. They don't like things to be very organized. These are the ones you walk into their house and everything's just kind of all over the place. And all right, again, you can imagine in our household, I'm an A-type personality. Steve has a lot of S, and so you know where most of our arguments come from. A-type personalities don't like idle chit-chat. They don't like criticism. Now, keep in mind, they don't like to be criticized, but they like to criticize, right? They don't like lineups. They don't like to lose. They hate daytimers. They definitely don't like excuses. They don't like wasting time. Romance isn't a big deal for them. They don't like bad service. You go to a restaurant, they don't like, that kind of stuff. They do not like crafts. They don't like boring people. They don't like bosses. They hate S's, as in S-type personalities. They do not like housework. They don't like to have to think too much. These guys like to just jump in and just do it, right? They don't like manuals. They don't like to be nagged. An A-type personality is, they'll do it when they're ready to do it. They don't like crosswords, and they do not like anything that is slow-paced in any way, shape, or form, right? I am a very fast-paced talker. I'm a fast-paced A and R-type personality. So one of the things for me that is really, really important, because I tend to talk way too fast. And I really had to learn on appointments to slow myself down because, you know, you get that lizard look when you're in the home, you're at the kitchen table, and they're just kind of looking at you like, what? You either spoke too fast or too slow for them, and their mind wandered off. So for me, I have to learn to talk a lot slower. And that was extremely evident again with Steve and I, because he's very slow-paced and I'm very fast-paced. And my girlfriend and I are both A-type personalities, both very fast-paced, especially talking. And then the two of us get together, and Steve's comment is that all he can hear is that's all he can hear. So we try not to talk to him when she's around. So identifying an A. In their house, there's going to be pictures of famous people around, things that they want to aspire to and attain. These are your hunters. They have pictures of themselves with the animals that they've hunted or caught or that kind of thing. Though I think apparently with a lot of stuff in the news now, that's a little bit taboo. You don't necessarily do that. The awards that they've won are around and all over the place. They will replace an award that they've got with a picture of their kid. Like if there's a picture of the kid on the mantle, they'll take that down and put the award on they won. The desk have stacks of things on it, and unlike the T-type personality, they don't have a clue where anything is. They will tend to have a games room, something like with a pool table and dartboard and that kind of stuff. They're orderly. They're not too messy, but you know, like I said, it's not the most organized. They're going to have a home gym because, like I said, they like to try to look good and feel good. They like snowmobiles, boats, motorcycles, sea-doos, anything that goes fast. They're going to have a big screen TV. They're going to have the biggest screen TV that they can have. Remember, again, these guys, because they're A-type personalities, they like to have the best of the best, right? The bigger, the louder, the faster, the better. I'm an A-type personality, but I'm okay with what is my TV, Terry, a little 42-inch or something? But downstairs is where Steve's TV is, and he's got the camera with the big screen that takes up the whole wall, and he knows the dimensions of it, and I don't have a clue, but, you know, that kind of stuff. I like the big screen TV because it's a big screen TV, and I can watch everything live, life size. He likes the big screen TV because he knows all the specs and everything about the screen and the video camera and the this and that. So we like the same things, but for different reasons. Type of books, they're going to be reading outdoors books, books about winning, Sports Illustrated. They probably got the Playgirl, the Playboy, whatever. They like money magazines. Their appearance is very real, but it's flashy. They're the ones that tend to wear the brighter things. They're a little bit more natural. You will very rarely see an A-type personality female that is like perfectly, they like to look good, but they're not going to have the tons of makeup on and the, you know, hair perfectly curled and hair sprayed 52 times so it doesn't move, that kind of thing. Most A-type personality women especially don't wear a lot of makeup, but they do like to make sure that they look good and the hair looks nice and that kind of stuff. They like to wear jeans and a t-shirt or expensive designer clothes. They'll go like from one extreme to the other, right? Their cars, again, it's going to be a sports car, 4x4, trucks, SUVs, something fancy. They're going to have the fanciest thing that they can afford. Okay. Type of professions for them, they're going to be athletes, salespeople. They're going to be self-employed because remember, they don't like bosses. Pilots, firemen, that kind of thing. Police officers. They are the kind of people that are looking for anything that will indicate freedom for them. A's think that they're always right. Anybody know anyone like that? Even when they're wrong and they know it. An A-type personality is the person that you can fight with them until you are blue in the face. They know darn well they're wrong, but they are not going to admit it. And they kind of have the take this job and shove it attitude. An R, they're very eternal. They're in the future. They're always thinking about, you know, what's going to be best, the next step for their future planning and stuff like that. And 12% of the world is an R. And keep in mind that statistically, the older you get, the more of your R will develop. Oh, what happened to the turn them on part? did I go? Oh, I flipped them backwards. Okay. So what are the things that they like? R-type personalities like people and family. They like family money, right? They inheritance and things like that. R-type personalities like a lot of variety in their life. They don't like things to be always the same. They like caring and concern. They like helping and helping and helping. They will give the shirt off their back. They're all about the loving and the kindness and the trust, and they love being part of a team. And you can read that they like making love, not having sex. They love to forgive people. They like to see other people succeed, so they like to shine the light on others. They don't like the spotlight shone on them. Okay. They like solving other people's problems. They're all about saving the whales and the dolphins and the stray cats and all that kind of stuff. They'll cry at the long distance commercial, all those kind of things. They're all very warm and fuzzy. All their animals will have names, including all their fish. So you can come to my house and meet my all my fish. They all have names. It's wonderful. They like holidays. They love all the holidays. When you go to someone's house and their house is decorated for Halloween, and then Halloween decorations come down, and the Christmas decorations come up, and it's like head to toe Christmas, and then Christmas comes down, and what's next after Christmas? Valentine's Day. No, you got to do Valentine's Day, right? And then Valentine's Day comes down, and then Easter's got to come up, and then Easter comes down. St. Patty's Day, they decorate for St. Patty's Day, right? Somewhere in between there, and then Easter, and then somebody's birthday's in between there, so it's all decorated for the birthday party too. They like food, they like wining and dining and that kind of thing. So what don't they like? We're going to go back one here. They don't like organization. They don't like people that don't have patience. They don't like confrontation of any kind whatsoever. They do not like T-type personalities. They don't like, R-type personalities do not like to be alone. They always have to be around other people. However, they don't like people with no manners. They don't like coldness. They don't like anything really harsh. They can't handle rejection. Anything like war, hurt. They don't like anybody to be hurt. Keith, he's my 10-year-old, and right on his report card, every report card he gets, he is labeled as the kindest in his class. He's always taking care of everybody else. Like I said, he's an S and an R-type personality. He walks into the office here and he has to do his rounds and come and hug everybody or high-five everybody. He has to make sure that Tara gets her hug, and then he's got to go in and see Jeff and give Jeff a hug, and he's got to go see Jared, and he loves being around people. They don't like talking a lot about money. They hate competition and they hate recognition of themselves, but they love to give recognition to everybody else. Divorce is something that's just, these are the people that will hang on to a bad marriage forever and ever and ever and ever just because they don't like divorce, right? Okay. How to identify an R in their home. In their house, you're going to see lots of knickknacks. The shelf has like all kinds of little things on it. There's family photo albums around. They love to scrapbook. They love to show you their scrapbooks. They have all kinds of animals around. They're going to have a cat and a dog and a fish tank and everything that they can get their hands on, a gerbil and a rabbit. And there's all kinds of candles around the house. They always have lots of plants. They're very clean, but not necessarily neat. Their house looks very lived in. Like I said, they decorate for every holiday. They've got like the flowery couches, they've got curtains to match. Toys in the house, they'll have all kinds of toys, and they're everywhere, right? They like family games. There's Monopoly, there's Scrabble, there's all kinds of whatever around. They probably have a camper, right, or a tent or that kind of thing. They definitely have a crock pot because they like to cook. They read a lot of self-help books, romance novels, kiddie books, cookbooks, anything on parenting. Magazines are going to usually be like People, Entertainment Weekly. They like to kind of know what's going on. Their appearance is very nice. They wear colors, floral patterns. They're kind of the beauty comes from within type people. They really want you to like them. Okay, that's more their big concern. They're usually very coordinated. They have a scarf that matches the shirt, that matches, that kind of stuff, and all the accessories. This is where I don't have much R because I don't have any of that. But they drive a van or a practical car, a station wagon, that kind of thing. Their professions tend to be social workers, daycare workers, nurses, teachers, hairdressers, anything to do with customer service. And these guys are really sort of the salt of the earth. They like peace, they like harmony, they're trying to fix everything. Keith came home from school about a month before school ended, and he was just in a mood, and we couldn't really figure out why until bedtime when we were tucking him into bed. And I kept asking him what was wrong, and he didn't want to say. And finally, we figured out that he was upset because two of his friends at school had actually gotten into a fight. One had hit the other one. He was not involved in it in any way, shape, or form, but he was so upset that one boy got hurt and the other one's feelings were hurt, and he just couldn't handle that. And he didn't feel right about it until he was able to get his two friends back together and help make them friends again. Right? These are the ones that are always trying to fix the family issues, right? That's kind of all the personalities in a nutshell. So just based a little bit on that, let's see if you can sort of test your skills. And if you're online, just type in what, just the letter of the personality that you think it is, and we'll go from there. So based on the picture, what personality type is that?
Do the kids and the teacher? She's an R.
The teacher is an R. She's all dressed up for some kind of a holiday or whatever. She's right in there with the kids. That's an R, for sure.
The other one's a T.
Type of personality, would you find that?
A or a T.
Completely no, Michelle.
Maybe an S.
An S or an R? Yeah, it's going to be an S or an R because everything, the threads are all color coordinated.
I thought those were like chalk.
No,
No,
it's sewing threads for a sewing machine. See, and only an R-type personality would know that that's actually thread for sewing, right? But everything's very organized, right? So an S-type personality with some R is going on in there. How about that? That's an A-type personality. They modified their lawnmower, you know. What is it?
That was a motorcycle.
Tim, yeah, but it's a motorcycle, but it's got a lawnmower underneath it, right? So they've modified their lawnmower to go as fast as possible, so it's probably an A-type personality, but it might take some T to figure out how to do that, though, right? So again, keep in mind that every personality, there's a little bit of everything in there, right?
Yeah.
Dean and Bev, he wants one. Okay, how about that?
S.
That's your S-type personality right there.
Or the guy with the chopper mower.
Or the guy with the chopper mark could be. No, because he'd be going so fast.
5 seconds.
Yeah, he'd be going so fast, there'd be no lines there, though. How about this one?
R. Big time.
That's an R. Yeah, definitely an R. But it also could be an S. Her clothes are very neat and tidy. Her hair is very perfect. You know. It's a couple different personalities actually in there. All right.
It's an A.
Well, the A is definitely the kid on the higher swing.
Yeah, get me going as high as I can. And the S-type personality kid is probably the one on the other swing there where you can actually hold on, and right? How about that one?
Oh, S.
S all over. If I walked into a garage like that, I'd be like, what is wrong with these people?
Be fine for the first week.
It wouldn't last much longer than that. See, in my personality, I might set my shed up like that, but it ain't going to stay that way long. How about that?
R. Or S.
And actually, in the training material that goes with this, you're all wrong. It's a T.
What?
It's not warm and fuzzy whatsoever. It's made of metal, right?
It's durable.
Yeah. So an S or a T is probably going to have this. If this was an R, yeah, if this was an R, it would be like soft and plush or something like that. It would be crocheted. Hey now. Right? How about that?
Who's the dentist or the kid?
The dentist.
Probably T.
There are very few R-type dentists. They're very clinical. They're very, yeah, they're mostly S's and T's. It's like an accountant with one of those old-fashioned, an S or a T, yeah. Grant, you can't see what? Open your eyes. Oh, the picture's too small. Sorry. How about that? I got a face for radio, yeah. So now this could be a little bit, yeah, Joe's a little more on cue there. He's probably, he comes across very friendly with the smile and everything else like that, but he's got the NASCAR picture in the back. Remember, famous people in the background, or famous pictures. He doesn't have any family pictures up around there, that kind of thing. That's an R to the core right there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's going to be some R there. That's a French teacher though, so a little bit more T-ish. I know this is really small and everything, but it's pictures of people. This is a very confused R though, because all those pictures are also all perfectly in line. If you walked over and made any one of those off-center, they'd freak right out. That's an A. Right off the bat, that's an A. And how about that?
T. You think?
Little bit of T going on there, eh?
It doesn't care what the house looks like.
Does not care what his house looks like. It's functional. It's got a roof over his head.
Wired for sound.
Yeah, wires everywhere. You know. He's waiting for it. Yeah. I'm not sure if he's trying to communicate with the aliens or just trying to get a better signal, but either way. A. Yep.
T.
It's a T or an R. Could be an R too. Nope.
I think an R was my third drive around with that, their children in the back.
Yeah.
That's probably a T.
Yeah. That's going to be definitely your T-type personality. However, again, you can have very confusing, and remember I said sometimes visually, don't let it trick you though, because look on his wrist. He's got a nice watch, well, semi-nice watch or whatever, but it's a big watch. He's got tattoos, right? He's a mix. And actually, if you look on his shoulders, he's Navy, right? So he's Army, Navy. He's got a lot more A than that picture would actually initially make you think. Right. The other thing to keep in mind too, and I can't remember if I mentioned this earlier or not, but very much like Steve and I, STAR, make sure you're identifying each individual, and you have to get good at altering your personality throughout your presentation, changing from an A to an R, that kind of thing, right? Got a couple more here. She's going to confuse you a little bit too. And she probably confuses herself a little bit. She's got the daytimer, but she's got the nice pastel colors, so she's an R and a T, right? That is a phenomenon that doesn't happen a lot, an R and a T, because they don't like each other. She could be an S, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, aren't we an R?
Yeah, can you tell? Hi, I'm an R. Can I give you a hug? Doesn't that picture feel like she just wants to give you a hug? All right, there we go. How about that?
Suicidal.
That's an A. I think she's jumping into one of those shoot you out of a cannon things.
A. Just for the adrenaline.
Mm-hmm. Now, keep in mind, Army people can tend to be S-type personalities as well, because structure and everything, right? It's going to be your A-type personality there. It could be a T as well.
You feel like Subarus.
If you like, I'm sorry, R kicked in there. I don't got a clue what that car was.
Subaru.
Joe knows his cars. Subaru with a kit. Thanks, Grant.
Rice burner.
How about that?
Well, it must be the RS.
R or S or a combination, the lights on, there's curtains, the white picket fence.
That's a T for sure.
Michelle just said, oh God.
Order.
My father?
That's a T for sure. Even an A couldn't stand that.
No,
No.
that's not a T. So remember, a T would have piles, they'd be neat piles, and they would know exactly where everything is. This is an A.
What?
They don't know where anything is.
They have no idea where
Yeah, I know,
everything
but I
is, and
would never
everything's in
let my
piles.
desk look like that.
They've also been
I'm balanced out though.
This, right, so this is more of an A. If this were a T, those piles would be neat, and he would know exactly where everything is.
Some
Sticky
T's
notes,
don't
they
care
know exactly what every pile is.
anything or order.
Grant says ew, so obviously that irritates Grant. That's your R-type personality. Could be an A. Could be an A as well, right? The bikes are up on there. He's got the nice truck.
It's a nice camper too, those aren't cheap.
That's, yeah, and Michelle pointed out the fact that that's not your, run-of-the-mill,
Winnebago, that's
Yeah.
a really expensive camper.
that's your top-of-the-line A-type personality. I'm going to get the best camper I can get kind of idea.
Nice new truck. That's an
It's an Italian.
That's an Italian. There you go.
Oh, what is that?
That's redneck.
A.
R for redneck.
Yeehaw.
Okay, got your family van,
Or-
right? Yeah, Grant said the other one was a poor A, an A with no money. There you go.
T.
Pocket protectors, tape on the glasses, the technical stuff. Right.
Plaid.
A.
All the way. S or T.
Maybe a T.
That's,
Maybe an R, but it's hard to tell.
she's actually, she's a famous person. I can't remember what her name is. She talks on TED Talks a lot. She's very extremely smart. She's a T-type personality, right? Remember, they wear a lot of blacks. It's very functional. She doesn't really care about her appearance that much. The hair gives it away, right? But she cares about her appearance a little bit. There's earrings. But she just strike you as somebody like, you don't want to necessarily, I don't want to talk to her. She's too smart.
She dresses professional.
Boring, yeah. Boring. A-type personalities are going to talk to her for about 30 seconds, if they can last that long. All right. What's that, a BMW? A-type personality. There's your T again, pocket protector. Lots of gadgets and gadgets around.
T or an R.
Yeah. That's going to be a T or an R.
Oh, pyro.
Pyrotechnics.
That could be a T or even an
That's going to be a T or an A.
A.
T or a-
No.
Not a T.
Not a T and not an A. Hostage negotiators are maxed
Oh,
out
yeah,
S-type
I was just looking
personalities.
at the police part.
Yeah, and that's where, again, watching that your visual cues. This is a hostage negotiator. If you're in a hostage situation, do you really want an A-type personality looking after that? No.
Hurry up and kill yourself.
Yeah. You hurry up and get this done and over with, or rushing in there too soon, that kind of thing, right? A hostage negotiator has got to be a very S-type, not slow-paced, but, even-keeled, thinking everything out, right?
Like Kochner, Criminal Minds.
Yeah. There you go.
He's a pilot.
Yeah. Right. There's your typical nurses are R's, almost always, though I've had one that wasn't. Yeah, there's your typical police officer.
You're adrenaline junkies.
Adrenaline junkie, A-type personalities. A lot of times they're an R too. Right, so,
They're afraid to fight.
oh, some of them. My uncle was an RCMP. He was an A-type personality, right? But even with inside the police force too, even some things like that, you're going to see variations, right? See, I practiced it. I knew I had it right down to an hour.
Fun and money.
So, anyways, that's it for me, guys. Thank you.
That was
And,
refreshing.
Hope that helped you out.
So just, Lynn, help tie this in for why you want to know this stuff again for your business.
Well, for your business, from a business standpoint, I mean,
We're all dominant in one area, right?
yeah, everybody is dominant in one area, and knowing okay, for example, when I deal with, both Terry and Michelle are on my team, they're both here tonight, and Grant as well. Actually, all three of them are different on the STAR program. And in order for me to deal effectively with each of them, I have to deal with them each differently. You cannot, yeah, from a, and Michelle's R just showed up because she said, sorry. And Terry's like, yeah, too bad. Right, but, right, if I were to deal from a coaching standpoint with Michelle, the exact same way that I would deal with Grant from a coaching standpoint, one or the other of them, one or the other of them is going to quit, leave, or stop showing up, right? So you do have to deal with everybody, I don't know, you have to deal with everybody equally but differently. And people have to learn to be okay with that. I do not drink heavily. Grant.
Yeah, so the better you understand, these different personalities, the more you can relate to them on their level, the better chance you have of being successful with them, either as a client or
Exactly.
a team member.
Exactly. And like we said in the beginning, if you ever walk away from a situation feeling like you either rubbed them the wrong way or they rubbed you the wrong way, that's where you're really going to know that you weren't effective. And from a business, from a coaching standpoint, one thing that I'm trying to get much better at is if I feel like I've done that, that I've not come across the way I meant to or the way I thought I was, getting better at going back to that person and trying to reiterate it again, but in the way that they can hear. I can't remember how that saying goes, but when John Jones buys something or John Jones will buy what John Jones wants, something like that. If somebody knows what that saying actually is, she can let me know what it is. But right, people will not buy from you until they can hear from you, and they can't hear from you until you speak their language.
Try and work in your other non-dominant traits and balance yourself.
Yeah. If anybody wants it, I can get it over to Joe, but there is a handout that goes along with this where you can actually measure yourself, and you mark off all the things that describe you on each of those sheets, and then you take it and you put it in, and then you count up what number you got on there, and then you put it in the order. And some of you are going to find out that you're an arst. Some of you are going to find out that you're a star. Some of you are going to be a rats. But what I also suggest and what I really think will be very, very helpful for you is if you get that handout, do it for yourself, how you see yourself or how you think you come across or what the things that are of high importance to you. But also take a clean sheet of that and give it to somebody else. Like Michelle, your dad, or me, or something like that. Not for them to fill out for themselves, for them to fill out with you in mind. Because you are going to be shocked how other people see you compared to how you think you see yourself. I've had people that thought that they were maxed out A or R type personalities or whatever it was, and I'm looking at them going, sweetie, you don't have a stitch of R in you. What are you talking about? Because sometimes the personality trait that we think we are is more who we want to be as opposed to how we come across, right? So you want to be careful with that as well. And if you get somebody else to fill it out for you with you in mind, it will open up your eyes to how other people see you. And then that will also help you to adjust, because the things that maybe you think you need to adjust to relate are maybe not the things you need to adjust. It's something else completely different. And I think that would maybe be a good exercise to do for a boot camp or something sometime, is to hand those out and get somebody else to fill it out for that person and see how they come across. Ken says, I thought I knew what I was, but now I'm not sure. I see myself spread across the map, but as you said, as you get older, the non-dominant grows, so I guess I'm old.
You got that right, Ken.
But you did say most people have at least two.
You will have 2 that are your top dominant traits and 2 that are your sub-dominant traits. And that's why Steve and I can relate, because I still have some S and T, and I can pull those out when I need to. And you just need to be able to do that when you're dealing with other people. So You know, as an example, Steve knows that I'm an A and an R. I'm an R. I need to be cuddled and hugged and, you know, that kind of thing. He's a T-type personality. That's the last thing he wants. So it's funny because when we watch a movie together at home, we start out on the couch together, side by side, with his arm around me or cuddling or whatever. And by the end of the movie, he's on his side of the couch and I'm on my side of the couch. So I know he knows I need my cuddle time. I know he needs his space. So partway in there, we've both given each other what we need, and then we both get what we want later. There you go. He's been away for 2 weeks. Leave me alone. Okay, guys, thanks a lot for being online tonight, and for those of you that showed up at the office tonight. And we'll see you all again.
Folks, I think Lynn did a great job. We should give her a round of applause for that. And we will definitely put this up on the link for the site. And I think it's a great thing to refer back to. And again, like Lynn said, you could probably spend 2 days really working on this stuff with people because there's so much to it. But that was kind of the Coles Notes version overview of it. But I've been through this program probably 4 or 5 times over the years, and it's very true. You really want to work on yourself to relate with people, because the better you can do with that, the more success you're going to have all around. So great job, Lynn. Thank you so much. And it's nice having a fresh voice online instead of the same old, right? So for something different again next week. From what I understand, we're going to have a guest speaker, which we'll announce that when it gets closer. And
Sorry for the TMI, Jan.
no. All right. So thanks, folks. Have a great one, and we'll see you next week, same time, same page. Have a good one.